I'm not famous, but I know someone who is, and he changed my life. Going into middle school, I had a lot of insecurity issues. I didn't think I was very pretty. I wasn't very popular. So when I got into middle school, I started getting a lot more attention, especially from boys. Boys started liking me, and they started pursuing me and wanted to have relationships with me, and I thought that was really cool, and it made me feel really awesome about myself. But the bad part about that was that when they'd break up with me, I'd feel even worse than I felt before the relationship had started. So that was just kind of like an endless cycle of me feeling really good about myself when I had a boyfriend and feeling really bad about myself when I didn't have a boyfriend. So after a while of that just like rejection from boys, I turned to drugs and alcohol, which I thought would make me feel better and I thought would make me feel that acceptance, but it worked for a while, but it didn't work forever. So going into high school, I was still struggling with that and still had all those problems. I was still really into finding my next boyfriend, finding boys that would like me and would tell me that I was pretty, and just like drinking and doing drugs. And so that went through all of my freshman year. Then I went to church with one of my friends, and her church is very like into their worship. They just love to praise God. And so I was there, and I was just like in the worship, and I'd always grown up in a Christian church, so it was like I kind of like knew like all that stuff. I knew about God, and I knew like what to do during worship so that I would fit in, And then it just clicked in my head. I was feeling really bad about myself, and then it just clicked. I was like, God is the one that's going to accept me and love me, and God is the one that's going to make me feel good about myself, and he made me perfect, and that just kind of all clicked in my head, and I just asked him into my life, just quietly to myself while I was worshiping, and it was the greatest decision I've ever made in my whole life. And since then, I've been living for him, and it's been difficult at times because I still get tempted by boys, but I try to not get into my temptation. And a verse that kind of just sticks out to me when I think of finding God is Romans 8, verse 35. Who shall separate us from the love of Christ? It's just kind of a reminder that God will love you no matter what you do. He just always has this like love for you that will never leave, and it's awesome. And that's just because Jesus died for us, so we don't have to see that sin anymore. And I'm not famous, but Jesus Christ is, and he changed my life forever.